Do you feel the vibes?
Alright man, I thought I'd just make a video on predicting the first round. I'm going to do this for each round, obviously because it'd be pointless to just do the first round and not continue it. So, maybe we can make a little series out of it, you know, why not? We do NBA talk around here every now and then. If I remember to, I'll put a link up top on the top right. I believe it's top right, yeah, the top right of the screen. Still learning how to do that. But anyway, let's just dive into what I think is going to happen. Now, the first matchup I have written down over here is the Bucks versus the Magic. I think I can see a world where the Magic do win a game. I can definitely see a world where the Magic win a game, whether Vucevic or Fultz has a big game or just whatever happens. I can see him winning a game, but they have no chance of winning the series. The Bucks are going to do this. I wouldn't be surprised if they even somewhat rested some of their players, because I mean the Magic aren't really that big of a threat to them, and they're going to be more worried about the second round, where it's either going to be the Heat or the Pacers. Now this is a little bit more interesting. Both teams very deep. Both teams are very deep. Obviously you have the god TJ Warren in bubble form. He's turned into the Michael Jordan of the bubble, unless he's playing Jimmy Butler. So I mean, I'm not going to take that as that's the reason I think the Heat are going to win, but I think the Heat are going to win. I think they just have a better team. I think Jimmy Butler's the best player in this series, and when two teams are close, usually the team with the better player wins. And I predict this to go to 7 games. I do expect a game 7 though. I think the Pacers are going to play very, very well, but I think it's unfortunately for Pacers fans going to be another year of just the first round. Good team, solid team. I don't think they have enough unless Victor Oladipo can really return to where he was, or if TJ Warren continues what he was doing in the first games of the bubble before he met Jimmy Butler. But yeah, I just think the Heat they've just got more experience. They're a bit older, I guess, with Dragic and Iguodala and Jimmy Butler and just guys like that. They really help. That really helps. I feel like that really helps. Obviously, the Pacers aren't young by the meaning of that, but nevertheless, I think the Heat they got the best player in the series, and the two teams are very close outside of that, and I think the best player is going to make the difference. Now, the Raptors and the Nets, again, pretty similar to the Magic, but I think it might be a little bit closer. I still predict Raptors in 5. I think I can see the Nets getting a game. They've been very good in the bubble, despite having just their pretty much just their bench playing. I mean, no Kyrie, no KD. I honestly don't even know if DeAndre Jordan's there. I'll be honest. I haven't even been watching Nets that closely. But either way, the Raptors are very good. I'm honestly predicting the Raptors to go back to at least the conference finals. I don't think they'll win the conference finals, but I predict them to be at the conference finals. That's what I'll say. They've got a very good team. People sleep on them. I've had back and forth on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter if you want. The link is down below. And yeah, it's just the Raptors are a great team. They're easily moving on. 5 games, even a sweep. Either way, they're definitely getting through. Now, the Celtics and the 76ers, this series would have been really good if Ben Simmons was playing. I mean, game 1, I'm recording this on the 18th? Yeah, the 18th, so day 1, I'm in Australia, so it's technically the 17th is when the playoff starts, but you get how it works. We're a day ahead. We're in the future. But it was a close game. It was quite a close game, but I mean, no Ben Simmons. Philly don't really have the depth to sort of make up for that. I mean, they tried at the trade deadline to sort of bring a few people in, but I don't think they have the answer. I think Boston will win this in 5 or 6 games. I'd be surprised if it goes to 6, but I can see Philly somehow getting 2 from big games from Joel Embiid. Tobias Harris needs to step up if they have any chance at all in this series. And judging from what I've seen from 76ers fans, he's not been doing that. He's definitely not been doing that. And that contract's looking bad. I mean, it was bad when he signed it, but now it's looking really bad. Now let's go over to the West. Probably the most exciting series, I think, apart from the Heat and Pacers, is the Clippers-Mavericks. Today, Porzingis got ejected for no reason. The game would have been... The Mavericks probably would have won. They honestly probably would have won. I can see this series going to no less than 6 games, probably 7. I do think the Clippers will win. They're just that Clippers roster is just too good, but I think it's just unfortunate that they got matched with the Mavericks, and same for the Mavericks unfortunately getting matched with the Clippers, because they're definitely a second round team. They could even make the conference finals if they got lucky. But I just think the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George and Harold Williams, Beverly, Reggie Jackson, just all their players are good. They're all starting caliber on most teams in the NBA. I just think the Clippers are too deep, and I think they will overcome the Mavericks. Not that the Mavericks aren't deep. I just think that the Clippers are just a little bit better. They're the 2 seed for a reason, and the Mavericks are the 7 seed for the reason. I mean, that's sort of how it goes, even though I do think it's going to be a close series. Now the other LA team, the Lakers and the Blazers. Lakers fans have made me really dislike the Lakers, but they're obviously, they're 100% getting to the conference finals. I mean, I'd be very surprised if they didn't, at the least. They're definitely going to get past the Blazers, as much as it would be cool to see the Blazers win. I think it'll be a 5 or 6 game series. The Blazers had a good run, but I don't believe that they'll put that much of a fight up against the Lakers. The Lakers are just too big in terms of, the Blazers' best player is their backcourt. The Lakers have good perimeter defenders. They've got good interior defenders. The Lakers, they're just too good. They're too good for the Blazers. As much as Damian Lillard's been going crazy, the Blazers, I just don't think they have it. I think they really need to make a shake-up in their team. I still do think keep Dame and CJ. But yeah, I think something's time to change. I think this year's going to show it. I know they had a lot of injury problems. But yeah, the Lakers are too good. They're too good for them. Probably going to be the least talked about series, even though it might be the closest series. The Nuggets and the Jazz. Just because they're small market teams, I feel like they don't get the attention. And they went into overtime today, and I didn't really see too much around about that. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it because that was at 3 in the morning here, and I'm not doing that. I ain't getting up for that. But I do think the Nuggets are going to win, even though Donovan Mitchell dropped 57. I think without having Bogdanovic there, that really hurt the Jazz. That really, really hurt the Jazz. If he was there, I'd say this would go to 7. I think it's going to go to 6 games. I feel like Denver's just going to have that little bit too much talent, and it's just going to overwhelm the Jazz, basically. That's as simple as that. Nuggets got a lot of offensive firepower. Yes, the Jazz are a good defensive team, but they don't have the offense to keep up with the Nuggets if the Nuggets really get hot, which I assume they will because they got a lot of firepower. And it showed today they lost in overtime, even though Donovan Mitchell dropped 57. So, do we really hold that much hope for the Jazz beating the Nuggets at that point? If they can't win with him dropping 57, I don't think so. But I still do think it's going to be a close series. So, Nuggets in 6. And our last series, which is quite a funny series because, as everyone knows by now, the Thunder were given a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. I thought they'd be on the fringe of making the playoffs. I didn't think they'd be as good as they are. Definitely didn't think they'd be as good as they are. I do think the Rockets will win this in 5 or 6 games, though. I know I'm sort of writing them off, and I could become one of the people that has just written them off again, and they're going to win. But I'd be very surprised if they don't. The only reason I can see that happening is if, with Westbrook out, they win those games with Westbrook not playing, and then when Westbrook comes back, it doesn't really work, and by then it's too late. The Thunder's already won their games. But yeah, the Rockets, I really like their small ball. I think it's quite interesting. It's very interesting to watch. I like watching them. They're a fun team to watch. They're different. I'd like to see them be successful. I think they'll be relatively successful. You got James Harden. As much as everyone's loved Chris Paul this season, James Harden's the best player, and I think it's similar to the Pacers thing. The teams as a whole are pretty similar. They're pretty similar skill-wise, but you've got James Harden, and then when Westbrook comes out, you got Westbrook. So you got the 2 best players in this series, and yeah, I think that's really just that's convinced me. You got the 2 best players in the series. There's no real excuse to lose it unless you fumble the bag, which we sort of saw the Grizzlies do with the 8th seed, but they had injuries, so I guess, yeah, they got an excuse, but they kind of sold the bag a little bit. But yeah, that's going to do it. If you're still here, then I feel like you should press the red button down below because you've enjoyed something about this video, and other than that, have a good day and peace out.